Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Andrews, and I'm here with the National Sports Media Association. And today I have Mr. Poplin. Mr. Poplin, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How about you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So before we get started, can we get a little bit of background information on you?
Yeah, so this is I've been in radio in Tulsa now. This will be year 23 for me, radio in Tulsa. Um I'm the program director of our radio station here, the Blitz 1170, and I do sidelines for the University of Tulsa football on their radio network and call their soccer matches on ESPN Plus and have done like USL games here in town for the Tulsa franchise. I mean, basically, if you ask me if I've done it and it's happened in the Tulsa market, like I've been a part of it at some point in time. So yeah, I've been here a long time.
That's great. That's great. And what exactly made you want to enter this field?
So I uh I was that I was that dorky kid in school that would beg teachers like during the NCAA tournament to use the big metal cart that had the big heavy TV on top of it with like a strap so it wouldn't fall over. I would beg them like, please, for the love of you know who, can you please just roll this in here so we can watch basketball games during the middle of school. I was the kid that had a sports almanac. I would ask for that for Christmas when I was like 9 and 10, and that's the only thing that I wanted. I would carry that around in my bag. I was always been a little sports dork in loving terms for as long as I can remember. And the older that I got and the more that I listened to radio and the fact that people could get paid like to talk about sports all day, I always thought that that was wild. There's like no way like I can actually do that. Now, little did I know of how little that you actually get paid to talk about sports, but it's just something that I fell in love with, and I have never been able to get it out of my system. And it was so bad that I would cut class like in college. Like I would cut class if my favorite show had on like somebody I wanted to listen to. Like I'd just skip out and I'd go sit in my car like in the parking lot like an idiot and listen to these interviews. It was just something that was so fun and in a weird way so magical to me. I knew that's what I wanted to do from the get-go.
That's great. That's really great. So what does a typical day look like for you? Because I feel like it's so, like different every day.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It like right now, it's we're so football intensive here at this state is it reminds me so much of Texas, just over the top. So football always has to be a part of like what we're doing on a day to day. So we always have to keep our ear and eyes open on anything that might be happening. But like my typical day is, alarm goes off like at 5:45 and get up. And I have a 6-year old, so get her, dressed and fed and drop her off at school. And then I'm in the office, a little after 8. And at that point, I've got a morning show that's on, so I'm listening to them, meet with them afterwards, and we talk about content. We talk about maybe areas where they could have been better, maybe areas where they could have been funnier, or hey, you can add this element to your show. And then it outside on top of all the clerical work that I have to do here, just with my position in general, I host my own show in the afternoon from 3 to 6. So my day is like literally scrolling socials, talking to people, coming up and thinking about ideas, just mainly looking for content most of the day so I can go on the air and speak between 3 and 6. And that's what a typical day looks like. Most of it is just content creation is all that it is. And it changes so much. Like today, for instance, we'll have to recap what happened yesterday. Arkansas just hired John Calipari, so that's absolutely insane. We have to set up guests for that. We will probably end up talking with JC Hoyt, who's the Oklahoma State women's basketball coach, because this would be a question for you too. I feel like I can interview you. Is I want to know how the women's game carries this momentum over, because you're losing Angel, you're losing Caitlin. I still think there are some outstanding players and great personalities in it, but that's the one thing I want to know is now that the popularity's kind of hit its zenith, like what can you do next? And I by the way, I do think like Caitlin and some of those and Angel going to the WNBA, that will just carry on the conversation. But how does women's college basketball almost go back and do it again? That's what I'm super interested in. So I want to hear from Oklahoma State's women's coach about what her thoughts are on that. I don't know if you've thought about that or how you take advantage of a moment like this and keep it rolling, but that's a fascinating topic to me right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think with there being so much young talent, especially in the freshman
Yeah.
class that came in this year, I think it's just going to keep rolling. Even looking at next year's freshman class coming in and just transfers going different places, like the pieces are going to keep rolling. You know, like it's people always want to see what like the top players are doing, like where they're transferring, what they're doing, their numbers they're putting up, what they're doing in the off season. So I think it's going to continue to increase, and I think Angel and Caitlin going to the WNBA will definitely help revenue there and
Yep.
expand. So I think it's just expanding overall. And, I think I don't know. I think there's a lot of change happening right now. That's good.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know it gets a lot of negativity, and we seemingly talk about that all the time. I think it's based off of kind of the age of the fan base as well, that whether they like what's happening right now or not. And um, it seems to be like clearly defined, but anyone that I know that's under the age of like I'm 43, so I think anyone that's kind of my age and younger kind of gets it a little bit more now, and it's been dragging people into that. But yeah, I think the movement has actually been not only good for the players, but could you make the argument's been kind of good for the sport, like in a way, to spread out talent and also kind of pique the interest of a lot of people to keep them paying more attention to it, like nonstop around the calendar than what it has been before. I think you can make the argument that it has.
I agree. I do agree with that. Definitely.
Anyway, sorry to like
Yeah.
interview you
Yeah,
on
it's all
this.
good. I love talking sports. It's okay. But my next question was actually going to be, so you were talking about women's basketball. I know you
Yep.
covered football. Are there any other sports that you've covered? Or
So mainly like here, a certain percentage of our show every day is dedicated to football. The big ones around here are Oklahoma Sooners. Then it goes Oklahoma State, Cowboys. With Oklahoma moving to the SEC, that's kind of created some more attention around some of the other schools. We're in a weird spot in Tulsa because we're actually like closer to Fayetteville, where Arkansas is at, than we are Norman, where OU's at. But so we try to split it up a little bit, and then Tulsa football falls in somewhere in there. But then we're right in the middle between Kansas City and Dallas for the professional ranks. We've got the Thunder down the road in Oklahoma City. So with their resurgence in the playoffs, those are those are the ones that you keep an eye on first, and then after that, it kind of starts stacking down on what time of the year it is. Like right now, it's basketball time, and what's big here, what's massive here now is women's college softball with the Sooners and the run that they've been on. They lost a series for the first time this weekend to Texas for the first time since 2011.
saw
So
that.
they've been
Yeah.
incredible, and Oklahoma State's really good too, and have been to the Women's College World Series. So that's kind of what happens now. We have a minor league baseball team that's here in the park, or that's here in town. That's just right across the street. But that's kind of where we stack in terms of what we cover on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. So I know you said that you were big on like, using or using platforms to kind of like,
Mhm.
get your information. What is
Yep.
your go-to platform? Like, what do you use
Um,
most of your information, I would say?
it has to be X. I still think that I don't like all the elements on it. But in terms of just, I think news cycles, like Twitter/X has always been good for that. And it goes even further back a few years ago. When do you remember when the Boston Marathon bombings happened, and that story? So when that happened, that's when it first dawned on me. I'm like, oh, this just isn't a social platform. This is a news sharing platform. And if you set your filters right, where you don't have to put up with nonsense, you know, political crap and everything else that's on there, like you can get really good content, and that seemingly has, I think, been most beneficial to the sports media side, is that so I would start there. In terms of social platforms, Insta's trying to get there a little bit, and then further down the line is probably, I would say, is TikTok, like further than that. But our go-to is X first and foremost.
Okay. Well, that's all today. Thank you so much for allowing me to interview you. And congratulations on your National Sports Media Association Award for 2024.
Thank you so much. It was great to talk to you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.